Welcome and thank you all for attending today's webinar on Cafeteria Funds Part 2, Practical Applications. Today's webinar provides attendees an opportunity to apply the concepts learned in Part 1, the basics. I am Andrea Teo, School Nutrition Program Specialist with the California Department of Education, Nutrition Services Division. I will be presenting today with Joan Davis, School Nutrition Program Specialist. Today's Cafeteria Funds webinar, Part 2, Practical Applications, will focus on the following objectives. Resource review. Participants will have the opportunity to review the regulatory references provided in the Cafeteria Funds webinar, Part 1, the basics. Basic questions. Participants will be given more elementary allowable and non-allowable items of cost questions. Complex questions. Participants will engage in more complex scenarios regarding Cafeteria Fund expenditures. And summary. Participants will receive a summary of today's webinar and will be provided information about the next Cafeteria Fund webinar, Part 3, Net Cash Resources and Spending Plans. We now will begin the Cafeteria Funds webinar on Resources Review. This section will break down how each resource can assist you to determine the allowability of items of cost. Cafeteria Fund Resources. LEAs must reference numerous sources to understand and determine if the proposed use of cafeteria funds is allowable. Specifically, these resources include Title VII Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, Parts 210, 220, 225, 226, 245, 3015, 3016, and 3019. Title II CFR Parts 225 and 230, the California Education Code, EC, the California Public Contract Code, Sections 20110-20118.4, and the California School Accounting Manual, the CSAM. With so many resources to refer to, it can be confusing to know how or where to start. An excellent starting point for your research is the Cafeteria Fund Guidance webpage. The link is provided to you at the bottom of this slide. If you forget what the link is at a later time, it is always available via search engine, Google, Bing, etc., by typing in CDE Cafeteria Fund Guidance. The CDE Cafeteria Fund Guidance webpage will allow you to access all of the needed resources that enable you to make informed decisions about your Cafeteria Fund account. Let's begin to examine each resource to broaden your knowledge of how to access pertinent information while applying practical concepts to answer questions in regards to managing your cafeteria fund. The first resource to review is Title VII Code of Federal Regulations, Section 210, which will provide you with regulations that govern the National School Lunch Program. This is an excellent resource to locate definitions of revenue, the nonprofit school food service, net cash resource limitations, paid lunch equity requirements, and non-program foods. The second resource review is Title II, Code of Federal Regulations, Part 225, Appendix A, which provides you with the underlying general cost principles as noted on this slide. 2 CFR Part 225, Appendix B, indicates whether or not specific items of cost are allowable or unallowable under federal regulations. Whenever beginning to conduct research to determine whether or not the item of cost that you want to purchase for your district is either allowable or unallowable, Appendix B is the perfect place to start. When the S&P Cafeteria Funds team responds to your questions, we typically begin here to see if the item of cost that you are inquiring about has already been identified in federal regulations. Enumerated specific items of cost examples include bad debts, equipment and other capital expenditures, fines, penalties, interest, maintenance, operation and repairs, rearrangements, and alteration costs. In addition to the federal references provided, the California Education Code, EC, is an excellent resource for participants to review state law governing the use and creation of the Cafeteria Fund. The EC keynotes to remember are the following. Cafeteria is synonymous with the term food service. The Cafeteria Fund can only be used for the operation of school cafeterias. Ed Code 38100 provides information on capital expenditures. In addition to the resources provided, participants should also review and become familiar with the following state and federal guidance. USDA policy memos. The USDA Food Nutrition Services, FNS, issues policy memoranda to provide guidance on implementing child nutrition programs. Here, you will find an index of all national policies issued. If you have any questions regarding these policies, please refer to the web link provided on the slide or contact the S&P Cafeteria Funds team, also provided to you on the slide prior. USDA Indirect Cost Guidance, an excellent guidance manual that illustrates how indirect costs are calculated and applied. It also provides practical examples of specific items of cost. And the CDE Management Bulletins, MB. The MB announcements provide information related to the Cafeteria Fund, as well as all child nutrition program updates. We now have a poll question from the Resource Review section for you to answer. For this and all other poll questions during this webinar, after the question has been read, we encourage you to pause the recording, answer the question, and then resume the recording. Where would you go to find out if a specific item of cost is allowable? A. Education Code. B. 2 CFR Part 225 Appendix B. C. CDE Management Bulletins. D. All of the above. Or E. Only B and C. I will give you a moment to pause the recording and answer the question. The answer to the question is D. All of the above, as you have multiple resources to find out if a specific item of cost is allowable. We will now begin to cover the more elementary questions we received from LEAs regarding the Cafeteria Fund. Before each topic, we will post a poll question to provide an opportunity for you to answer and become more familiar with how to use the resources we have just introduced to you. The next poll question is on bad debt. If a student has not paid for their lunches and has a debt of $50, should the student's bad debt be charged to the Cafeteria Fund at the end of the year? 1 is yes, 2, no. I will give you a moment to pause the recording and answer the question. The answer to the question is no. Bad debts for uncollected meal charges are unallowable. Title II, CFR, Part 225, Appendix B, Item 5, Bad Debts, states, bad debts, including losses, whether actual or estimated, arising from uncollectible accounts and other claims, related collection costs, and related legal costs are unallowable. Therefore, the charges for any uncollected debt would be the district's responsibility. Our next poll question will be on capital expenditures. A district wants to purchase a salad bar. Is this an allowable expenditure? Yes or no? I will give you a moment to pause the recording and answer the question. The answer to the question is yes. The purchase of a salad bar is allowable. 2 CFR Part 225 Appendix B, Item 15, Equipment and Other Capital Expenditures states, special purpose equipment means equipment which is used only for research, medical, scientific, or other technical activities. Examples of special purpose equipment include microscopes, X-ray machines, surgical instruments. Special purpose equipment is equipment that can only be used by the nonprofit school food service and not other LEA programs. Since the salad bar is equipment needed to satisfy the objectives of the award, it is allowable. The next poll question is on salaries and benefits. For LEAs only operating the Child Nutrition National School Lunch Program, NSLP, what documentation would be required to accurately document your cook's wages? 1, a personnel activity report. 2, periodic or semi-annual certification. Or 3, none of the above. I will give you a moment to pause the recording and answer the question. The answer to the question is periodic certification. The state guidance on periodic certification can be found in the CSAM. The CSAM was developed based on federal regulations found in 2 CFR Part 225 Appendix B, Item 8H3. The periodic certification must certify the employee works solely on that program or cost objective, are prepared at least semi-annually, are signed by the employee or supervisor that has first-hand knowledge of the work performed by the employee. Because 100% of the cook's time is devoted to food service activities only, the LEA needs to only use periodic or semi-annual certification to document the cook's wages. Bargaining unit members employed in the food service department will need to complete a PAR, since the union-related activities that they are engaged in is not the same activity that they were hired for by the food service. The employee is working on multiple activities. We have now completed the basic question sections of our webinar. Joan will begin to dive into the more complex questions that we have received from LEAs.
The next poll question will be on food service vehicle repairs. An LEA's vehicle exclusively used for the operation of the nonprofit school food service requires a new transmission. Will the LEA need to have received prior approval from the CDE before they can charge this repair to the cafeteria fund? 1, yes. 2, no. I will give you a moment to pause the recording and answer the question. The answer to the question is yes. The cost of the transmission repaired is allowable with prior approval by the state agency, CDE. 2 CFR Part 225, Appendix B, Item 15 and 25. Item 25 states, unless prohibited by law, the cost of utilities, insurance, security, janitorial services, elevator service, upkeep of grounds, necessary maintenance, normal repairs, and the alterations and the like are allowable to the extent that they keep property in an efficient operating condition, do not add to the permanent value of the property, or appreciably prolong its intended life, and are not otherwise included in rental or other charges for space. Costs which add to the permanent value of property or appreciably prolong its intended life shall be treated as capital expenditures. Since the transmission would add to the permanent value of the food service truck and appreciably prolong its intended life, the question now becomes a capital expenditure request. The reference for capital expenditures relating to motor vehicles is found in Item 15A4. Item 15 states, general purpose equipment means equipment which is not limited to research, medical, scientific, or other technical activities. Examples include office equipment and furnishing, modular offices, telephone networks, information technology equipment and systems, air conditioning equipment, reproduction equipment, and motor vehicles. Since the vehicle is considered to be general purpose equipment, and because it is used exclusively for the operation of the nonprofit school food service, the repairs can be approved by the CDE. As you can see, with some of the questions posed are complex and require review of multiple regulations to determine allowability. The next poll question is on raffling vendor credits. Your vendor gives credits for food items purchased. To promote your program, you use these credits to purchase a bike that is raffled off to every child who turns in a meal application. Is this activity allowable? 1, yes. 2, no. I will give you a moment to pause the recording and answer the question. The answer to the question is no. 2 CFR Part 225, Appendix A, Item C4, applicable credits states, applicable credits refer to those receipts or reductions of expenditure-type transactions that offset or reduce expense items allocable to federal awards as direct or indirect costs. Examples of such transactions are purchase discounts, rebates or allowances, recoveries or indemnities on losses, insurance refunds or rebates, and adjustments of overpayments or erroneous charges. To the extent that such credits accruing to or received by the governmental unit relate to allocable costs, they shall be credited to the federal award either as a cost reduction or cash refund as appropriate. Since vendor credits accrue due to purchases made with federal money, they are considered to be part of the cafeteria fund. Therefore, giving items purchased with credits away is similar to donating federal money. In addition, Appendix B deals with specific items of cost. Item 12, Donations and Contributions, states, contributions or donations, including cash, property, and services made by the governmental unit, regardless of the recipient, are unallowable. Therefore, the use of vendor credits is not allowable. The next poll question is on water. The football team practices after school at a practice field not adjacent to the cafeteria and would like water during practice to be provided by the nonprofit school food service. Can the purchase of a water cooler or hydration station that is served to the players during football practice be a charge against the cafeteria fund? 1, yes, 2, no. I will give you a moment to pause the recording and answer the question. The answer to the question is no. This would be either the responsibility of the district or the athletic department, but it cannot be charged to the cafeteria fund. The California Education Code Section 3806 requires that a school district shall provide access to free, fresh drinking water during meal times in the food service areas of the school under its jurisdiction, including but not necessarily limited to areas where reimbursable meals under the National School Lunch Program or the Federal School Breakfast Program are served or consumed. In December 2010, Congress enacted the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act. Section 203 of this law states, schools participating in the school lunch program under this act shall make available to the children free of charge as nutritionally appropriate portable water for consumption in the place where meals are served during meal service. For more information, please review MB-USDA SMP-08-2011. Information Alert, Access to Free Water. Since the practice field is not part of the food service area and the water will not be served during the meal service time, the equipment is not mandated by Section 203 of the HHFKA, and therefore the charge is not allowable. As you can see, determining whether or not an item of cost is allowable can be quite complex. We have provided you with numerous resources that can assist you in managing your cafeteria account. But again, we strongly encourage you to refer to the CDE's Cafeteria Fund Guidance webpage. The CDE's Cafeteria Fund Guidance webpage can show you where to access all the needed resources that will enable you to make more informed decisions about your cafeteria fund account. After using the resources we have provided you, if you still have questions or need clarification, we strongly encourage you to email the School Nutrition Programs Unit Cafeteria Fund Team. The SMP Cafeteria Fund Team email address is smpcafefundquestions@cde.ca.gov. In your email, please include the following information. In the subject line, include what you're requesting assistance with, such as paid lunch equity, non-program revenue, or capital expenditure. In the body of the email, please include the LEA's name, your CNIPS identification number, a description of the issue. If this is an equipment purchase, also include an explanation on why the equipment is necessary for the operation of the nonprofit school food service. For questions on the administrative review process, you can contact the Field Services Unit at the following email address or phone number listed on the slide. For accounting and CSAM questions, you can email the School Fiscal Services Division at the email address listed on the slide. We would like to thank you for your participation in today's webinar. We hope that Part 2 of this webinar series has continued to build a foundation of knowledge and provided you with the ability to navigate the numerous resources necessary to manage your cafeteria fund. Thank you.